Hey, my name is Mike, and this is a too long didn't read version of Flamebender Ka'graz on Mythic. Acnor isn't really that important, so tank just pick him up and the DPS burn him down really fast. Flamebender does Lava Slash, which leaves a molten line on the ground. If you're within 6 yards of the person targeted with this, the line expands to you. This only happens to ranged, and if a ranged player spawns in melee, it's a wipe. When the boss has 25 or more energy, she does Molten Torrent, which is a 6-second debuff put on a random person. When this debuff fades, it does a lot of damage, but it's split amongst everyone that actually takes the hit. So the person with this debuff should be running to a large group of people, usually melee. You can actually use cooldowns like Deterrence and Ice Block to not take damage from this at all. At 50 energy, the boss will summon wolves. One of the wolves become empowered and the other 3 fixate ranged players. The empowered wolf has its movement speed and damage increased for 20 seconds. It also has a frontal cone ability called Charring Breath that no one should get hit by. Anyone that's hit by the breath also gets a debuff that increases the amount of damage they take from the breath. The tank should call out swaps as needed. Every 20 seconds, a new wolf becomes empowered and the currently empowered one starts fixating people. These wolves also have a fire link between them, similar to fire chains in Diablo 3. If you stand in it, you take damage as well as get a stacking dot. This dot can be dispelled, however, because it is a magical effect. My guild made anyone that was fixated with the wolves hang around melee so the dogs and the boss could all be AoE down. As soon as a wolf gets to 1 health, they start casting Rekindle. You cannot interrupt this, and if they finish casting it, they heal back to full, which is why all 4 wolves need to die around the same time. Throughout the fight, there are weapons doing damage to anyone around them. If a wolf gets hit by these weapons, they do a big raid-wide AoE. When the boss reaches 75 or more energy, she puts a debuff on a player called Blazing Radiance. All this does is deal damage to anyone within 10 yards of that player, so they should move away from everybody. At 100 energy, the boss channels a raid-wide AoE called Firestorm. If the wolves aren't dead at this point, they also do Firestorm and you die. It's best to group up on the boss and heal. Make sure if you have Blazing Radiance, you're staying out. After she's done casting Firestorm, she gets a 50-second buff that makes her melee attacks put a stacking dot on the person she hits that lasts 8 seconds. The tanks have to make sure that they're swapping for this. There's also these fire circles that you want to make sure not to stand in. My guild split the ranged up into 2 groups. One group went to one side of the room and the other group went to the other. This made sure everyone was spread out and the weapons were spawning ideally as far away from the boss as possible. You should save most of your defensive cooldowns for the Firestorm phase. My guild popped our offensive cooldowns at the start of the fight, then we lusted on the first set of wolves and then had our cooldowns up for the second set of wolves. That was a too long didn't need version of Flamebender Ka'graz on Mythic. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching and have a terrific day.